Duke and Kentucky out of the NCAA tournament that'll be coming up soon, March Madness. Rob, for the first time, both of them are out since 1976.
Wow.
Now, neither one of them was good this year. Kentucky, Rob, was 9-16. And, I mean, this is the John Calipari Kentucky, right? The team that, I mean, they've
used
always
to
been a
be
power.
10 deep. Right. They were 10 deep. They had 2 starting teams.
Right. And they are horrible. Now, Pat Forty, well-known college writer, he tweeted out that this is the worst Kentucky season since 1927.
Wow.
And I don't know if that's factual or he's just saying it, it was so bad. But I bet it's factual. We'll have to check. But Duke, Duke, on the other hand, is 13-13, I believe. They actually had a shot. They had to win the ACC tournament. Now, they won the first 2 games, but then somebody on the team or in the program came down with COVID, and so they had to bow out of the ACC tournament.
That might have been a blessing for them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they were going to win the tournament and then make the NCAA. So I'm going to take it back, Rob. This is how, I can go back literally to 1977. And it was one of the first NCAA tournaments that I remember watching. I was 9 years old. And was Marquette in it the year before that? 1976?
I don't remember.
Because that might be my first NCAA tournament I really remember, watching and being into when Marquette won it. And I think that was 1976. Rob G, can you check that out? But anyway, I do remember just a little kid watching Kentucky and Duke play in 1977 in the national championship game, Rob. And Gene Banks, Mike Jaminski, I think Jim Spanarkel, those were the stars.
I covered Spanarkel and G-Man, both.
With the Nets,
for the Nets.
Right?
Yep,
yeah.
They were both played for the Nets, and I covered them both. And
they
were both
better
winning the
at
broadcasting.
Duke. Yes, they did. They were better at Duke than they were at with the Nets.
Yes.
Or in the NBA period. But and then on the other hand, I know you remember this guy, Kyle Macy for Kentucky. And didn't he always rub his socks, I think, when he was at the free throw line? That was his habit. Yeah. So I remember as a little kid watching Duke, Kentucky in the national championship game. And, I was 9 years old. So that's how far back. A year earlier, these two teams made the tournament, and they've been in it ever since, at least one of them. So what do you think? What do you think about these two teams? Wow.
Bravo. Wow. Finally. Yes. Wow. Yes, I love it. It's not as predictable. Yes, it's a down year for Duke, a down year for Kentucky. We don't need to always have the same teams all the time, every year. What a nice break. Hopefully Michigan State won't make it either. This will be good for college.
The Michigan State Spartans as presented
by Rocket Mortgage. Right, that team, right. Yes, can I get a jumbo mortgage for a 4-bedroom house in suburban Detroit? Can I do that? Okay. But I'm good with this, Chris. Let there be some other teams for a change, and it's not the same old story. Everything's, everybody's apple cart has been turned over. So why not this? Why not something different? Why should those schools always get in, always be good, and the other schools looking up at those two? And it's just amazing that those two schools, as good as they've been, and as you said, first time since what, 1977 or
76. Since 1976. Yep.
That they're both out of the tournament. That's a long time and a long time coming. So it's fine. Let's have a couple of down years. Let's see a couple others. Maybe a mid-major, Chris, can finally win a national championship this year. What about that? How about a mid-major now that some of the big boys are no longer around? I love it.
Yeah. Well, first, let me clear this up. So Marquette, I mentioned, they won the championship in 1977, Rob. Okay. And then Kentucky beat Duke in 1978. So that was. It was
so
a
77, okay.
77-78 season. I was watching it. But anyway, Yeah, I've been saying, Rob, ever since the best college players would be one and done, and we've seen mid-majors have more success than ever. No, they haven't won it, but Butler went 2 years in a row. Didn't win it, but got to the championship game 2 years in a row. I remember when George Mason was in the Final Four.
In the Final Four, yep. And then they got smashed, I think.
Right, but it was another Cinderella. Maybe that Butler, I think, was in it that year too, because it was a few Cinderellas maybe.
Because Butler beat Michigan State, I think, didn't
they?
Right.
I don't know if it was it Michigan State? But whatever,
they had a chance to go to the championship, and they lost to like a Butler. I'd have to look. USC Chris might be right. Might remember that, but go ahead.
I've been saying, Rob, that a mid-major is going to win the tournament at some point soon, because here's the deal. The best college-age players are in the NBA. And so now what you've got is teams made up of a couple of one-and-done stars or one one-and-done star, right, who is greatly talented, on his way to the lottery or the first round draft pick, but yet isn't yet a full-grown man, doesn't necessarily have the greatest basketball IQ, the part that comes from experience, and just doesn't have the experience or the chemistry with his teammates because he's a freshman. And so you've got teams built around that, and then the mid-majors and some of the other non-powerhouse schools, Rob, they're keeping their guys for 3 and 4 years. Well, so they may not be NBA talent, you know what I mean? But they're mature. They have more chemistry. They know the system at their school better as far as their team, the way they play. They can beat, you know what I mean? They can beat a lot of these young teams with the hot shots who are one and done.
But they haven't been able to.
Coming. No, they haven't. But you have to admit, they have been getting closer and closer.
Right. But this has been that. I always agree with that. That's how Michigan State won its championship, if you remember. Do you remember? In 2000, when Tom Izzo won his only national championship.
I know you ride like a donkey for only winning one title.
Well, in 21 years, and it's been a long time. But anyway, if you remember,
Jim Boeheim would take that.
Mateen Cleaves, he sure would, and Morris Peterson weren't good enough to go to the draft their junior year, Chris, the NBA draft. So they came back for their senior year. If they didn't come back, Izzo might not even won a championship. If you remember, because they were older, they had played 4 years, and they were able to beat, I think they beat Florida or whatever. But I remember that, and it was because they were more mature and had played 4 years of college basketball. They were better than the other guys and more experienced. So I know your point is well taken.
Here's the thing, Rob, and I got to be honest. I always find a way to get into the NCAA tournament just because that Thursday and Friday is tremendous, and the upsets, and I don't know half the kids anymore, but it's exciting. And right now though, I'm not into it. And I've been this way before, covering the NBA as a beat writer. You know how it is, right? You're so into your team, you're so into the league that it's hard to follow college.
You can't follow everything. You can't follow everything.
So I've been here before, but here's the thing, Rob. Let's say a mid-major wins it this year. It's not as big of a deal anymore. It's not like a mid-major winning it 10 years ago. Even 5 years ago, maybe.
And you're saying because the teams aren't as good?
Well, the teams definitely aren't as good. A lot of the better players in the country aren't obviously in college, the ones that are in the NBA, but even some are in the G League, and I do think, Rob, I don't want to say this hurts college basketball, but when you do have the blue bloods, a couple of them at least, Duke and Kentucky out of it, it doesn't feel as big. I hate to say it that way, but it doesn't feel as big. You'd like to see one of those mid-majors beat a Duke in the tournament, a Kentucky in the tournament. Like, do we have a super team? You know what I mean, super team. Like, do we have that Goliath? I know Michigan's pretty good.
Michigan's had a great
shout
year.
out to Juwan Howard, who's doing well. But how many of those dudes are like blue chip? You know what I mean? They don't have that guy that there's no that Ben Simmons, that Zion Williamson that has everybody excited. Who is that guy? I know Cade Cunningham from Oklahoma State. People like him, but he's not. He hasn't captivated everybody's imagination like even Rob like Lonzo. Remember when Lonzo was a freshman?
Right.
Or you had De'Aaron Fox in Kentucky. Like, I don't see the big individual stars who everybody's into in college right now. And maybe it's the pandemic. And obviously some of the blue bloods aren't in it. So I think if a mid-major wins it, it'll be nice and cute. But is it really, are people going to go gaga over it? I don't think so.
I'm just interested to see some different teams every so often, and I'm good with this. I don't have any issue. Though some of these big teams to finally go down, whatever, if it was the pandemic or just the scattered schedule or whatever it was that threw these other teams off. Because Duke was off from the very beginning, if you remember. Coach K wanted to throw the towel in.
Right, he did. He did. So what do you guys think? Is Duke, Kentucky being out of the NCAA tournament for the first time in 48 years or 47 years? Is that a good thing? Your turn to weigh in.
All right, let's and just to, Chris, I just looked it up. Brooklyn is close to Chicago. Like Brooklyn would be the fourth largest city by itself
right now.
Chicago is 2.6. Brooklyn is like 2.5. I mean, that's incredible. Think about that. And it doesn't even have like somebody who runs the city. They have a borough president, but not a mayor or anything. All right, let's kick it off with Cody in Pennsylvania. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Cody?
What's up, guys? I definitely appreciate you. I want to thank you guys. I've been listening to you guys since I was like 10 or 11. You guys are Titans in this game, and I appreciate the show, first and foremost.
Wow. Thank you, Cody.
Okay. You haven't been listening to the Odd Couple.
No, he means on TV.
Yeah, on TV and stuff. Okay. Okay.
I'm
about to say, you got a deep voice. You have a deep
How old
voice
are you,
for
Cody?
a 14-year-old.
I'm 25 now.
25? 25?
Yeah.
Okay. You're breaking up. I hope you can get your call in. Yeah, we lost him.
Oh, can you hear me?
Sorry, but go ahead. Give it a try.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, I definitely agree with both of you guys that without the big colleges, it definitely takes away from some of the excitement. But I also agree that it leaves the window open for a story. You know, it's the granddaddy of them all. So there's always a couple of guys who increase their draft stock. Like you think about a Steph Curry from Davidson. So I definitely, whereas there's not as much excitement, there always will be a story that comes from this tournament and skyrockets a guy's draft stock.
All right, Cody, that's a good point.
I hope
it could happen.
We see that this year, right?
Maybe there's some school, Chris, that comes out of nowhere and we find out about some kid and a coach. You know what I mean? It could be interesting. Marty in Kentucky, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Marty?
How's it going, fellas? How y'all doing this Thursday?
We are good. You're probably down, huh? Kentucky's out?
No,
Are you
I'm a
Louisville
basketball
fan?
No, I'm a Kentucky fan, but I'm a basketball fan. And to be honest with you, although I'm disappointed, I love parity in sports. It's good for sports. Look at the NFL. It's built for parity, and that's why it's so successful. I don't think it's going to hurt Kentucky or Duke. The teams can bounce right back. Virginia lost, but they were the first team to ever lose in the first round as a one seed and jump back and won championship the next year.
Right.
I don't think this is bad at all for the game. The only thing that hurts me is my brother is a Duke fan, and I can't rub it in his face because it happened on the same year.
Yeah, I mean, you do lose that out. You're right.
They actually had a better season in Kentucky, so you better just steer clear of that conversation.
Man, that sucks. Hey, Carter in Minneapolis, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Carter?
Hey, what's up? It's actually Connor, and that's okay. I don't know the
Connor,
phone.
okay.
Hey, I appreciate you guys so much. My favorite show on Fox Sports Radio. Absolutely. I appreciate you guys every night.
Thank you, man.
I just wanted to say thank you. I just wanted to say I think it will be a good tournament, and I think you look no further, and Rob Parker, I know you were one of these people. Do you know how happy people were when the Patriots missed the playoffs this past year? There were people about dancing in the streets when the Patriots missed the playoffs. that's
No
going to be the
doubt.
same thing. People do not. While people like watching Duke and Kentucky, they've had
People
some
don't
great
like Duke,
teams.
for sure.
People don't like them, and you
No.
could. I look at Gonzaga. I still don't think, even with this stacked team, I have doubts about them. But you look at a kid like Jalen Suggs out of Gonzaga. If they make a deep run and he goes high in the draft and has a nice NBA career, I think that could be positive, both for college basketball and the NBA. I don't know where college basketball is going forward. The NCAA, you guys know, you've talked about it, but I think we could have a good one. That's my perspective.
Yeah,
Connor, that's
gotta
not
be
bad,
honest.
Connor.
Do you, Rob, even think of Gonzaga anymore as a mid-major? I know technically they are, but you know what I mean? They've been a powerhouse now for a while.
No,
they
no
haven't won
doubt,
it
but
all,
they still haven't gotten there, and
Right.
it still technically would be a mid-major finally win. They would be crowned as the first mid-major, right, to finally break through.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying. Even though
Yeah,
their
they've been
program
they've been
is
so good
renowned,
for a long
right?
time now.
Right, they've been good.